Recording?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I was dancing already.
Welcome back to Same But Different after a long hiatus, a week, but it's long for me. I just miss talking movies. You're here with me, Derek, and my co-host and brother Brody, and we're here to talk about two movies today, The Blackening and Infinity Pool, our Halloween double feature. Now let's dive into these movies and see if they were up to snuff for spooking us this month.
Snuff!
Yeah, let's start off with your review of The Blackening, Brody. How about you dive right into it?
I can do that. I think I should take this mask off first, though.
It sounds like you should.
I think I'm going to take the mask off. Yeah, let's do that.
Let's hear it.
I feel naked now.
Nothing below the neckline? You don't have anything on?
I didn't say I am naked. I said I feel naked. The Blackening. Let's talk about The Blackening. I really wanted to like this movie. I thought a horror comedy with, the satirical undertones of like racism tropes in horror movies just sounded like it could have been really smart, really well done. And it really wasn't. It fell pretty short, in my opinion, unfortunately. We could start with the good, but the good kind of begins and ends with the acting. I'll give the acting good. Everyone seemed to do a good job with what they were given. The issue was they weren't given much. I don't know. They were all written to be not very likable. It's tough watching this movie. What was purposeful and what was just poorly done. But I fell onto the poorly done side of things more often than not. I think the movie started on a high note. It kind of gripped you in right away with some hokey slasher fun. What is this board game? Who are these people? Oh, they're the friends of the friends who were coming. Like it was interesting. And then that was the extent of it. I think after that, it kind of just becomes a substandard slasher comedy. It's pretty light on the slashing and the comedy, though. I should say it's not light on the comedy. It's light on what worked, because the movie's littered with jokes and physical gags. It's all over the place, but I seldom so much as cracked a smile. And the slashing aspect, this is where it's tough, because the satire kind of lands on that they all should survive. That's kind of the point, because the black person always dies first, right? That's kind of the trope they were going for. So to not kill any of them was a creative choice, but why would I want to watch a slasher movie where none of the characters die?
That was one of my major points too. Yeah.
It would have taken away from the message they were trying to get across, but also it made the movie worse because of that.
It would have been cool if they had one white friend and the white person died first, or may have been the only one to die. That would have been something.
Yeah, it was tough, because after a bit, I'm like, oh, none of them are in peril. And then about, halfway through, I realized none of them are going to die, probably. And then they didn't. And then I was like, well, the twist wasn't much of one. Kind of called it from the moment that guy started talking.
Same.
Like, there was no way that wasn't what was going to happen. The music slapped, though. So, I don't know. Maybe my expectations were too high for this one, or maybe it was just bad. I will never know. I'm going to give this movie a solid 3 crossbow bolts out of 10.
3?
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's low.
I didn't like it. I wasted my time with this one.
I liked it a little bit more. Definitely not a 3. Let's start off with the comedy, because I knew going into this that it was going to be a comedy more so than a slasher horror. I was expecting more of a comedy. A lot of the jokes landed for me personally. A lot of the jokes didn't land. I think it was a 50-50 thing. Actually, the way I've broken it down, it's more of like a 33%, 33%, 33%.
What's the third 33%?
The third, I found that a lot of jokes just weren't for us and our white privilege asses. I feel like there's a lot of comedy in here that's geared towards a particular demographic, and rightfully so. There's just a lot of very specific, culturally specific jokes that just didn't register with me because I'm not part of that culture. That's just how it goes, and that's just how it is. But that being said, yeah, there were a lot of jokes that I liked. There were even a few golden nuggets in there that I laughed out loud at. I would say 3 or 4 jokes. But you're right, there was a lot of stupid slapstick and stupid jokes that fell flat as well. The comedy was just, as you put it, kind of all over the place. Let's speak to the characters, because this is supposed to be, I thought the intention was to be a satire on the genre. Being a satire, you're always going to get the characters, you know, in slasher horror movies. You're going to get the archetypes. You're going to get the jock and the geek and the final girl and the drug addict, and they were kind of all there, but they didn't take the forefront of their characters. I mean, except for our main antagonist, who is clearly the nerd.
No.
Because it was just written to be overacted. What was I trying to say here? I'm just going to read exactly what I wrote down here because I think it's the best way to navigate this. Those cliches were quieted by a through line through all the characters of what it means to be a black person in modern culture and society. And I think that's even more important than the cliches and archetypes that we're so used to. And I think that's super important because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to implement that into an otherwise area of media and entertainment that lacks a lot of that. So it was refreshing while being entertaining. It brought a whole new distinct level to the characters that we just don't. So that it wins a lot of points in that regard. Like you said, the movie was incredibly predictable. A little less than halfway through, I kind of just accepted the fact that none of these people are going to die, which is kind of unfortunate in a slasher-based movie. You want bodies to hit the floor, and we just didn't get it. We didn't get it. Yeah, I guessed the villain right out of the gate. Yeah. Even to the point of like what his motivations were. It was just so clear from the very beginning. And for a movie that's trying to subdue our expectations and cliches, they really dived into that one. And that's really all I have to say. You got across the point where I was going to say, I know the point of the movie was to not have them die because even the tagline is like, they can't all die or they can't all be first to die or something like that. So it was satirical in the fact that to have them all survive, but you don't want that in a slasher film. You just don't.
No, thank you.
I liked it a little bit more than you. A couple of laughs here and there. I gave it 5 crossbow bolts out of 10. Middle of the road for me. The trailer made it look so much better.
And just the premise alone, yeah.
Now that we got that out of the way, let's move on to our second movie of our double feature, and that is Brandon Cronenberg's Infinity Pool. Brody, how about you tell us your thoughts first on Infinity Pool? Let's hear it.
I've never been a huge Cronenberg guy. I know this is Brandon. The good news is, after watching The Blackening, which I deemed a pretty bad movie, we got to watch this one, which surprisingly was also really bad. So, did I trick you?
Yeah.
Good.
You did.
Honestly, I didn't realize that my reviews are kind of similar here. This movie started out pretty promising. It had me intrigued at the start. You know, it was like a dark, cryptic, what's going on kind of vibes. I was pretty into that. At the end of the day, I think this movie tried so hard to be out there and different.
Pretentious.
And
It was pretentious.
It was pretentious. So it just ended up kind of seeming like a goofy time, to the point where I don't know if that whole Mia Goth stuff on the hood of the car at the end was supposed to be serious, but it wasn't. It was awkward and funny, and I hated it. Yeah, it's one of those movies, and I think that Brandon took what David is known for, and that's the shock value, but didn't add much else to his movie, whereas you're supposed to. It was kind of just shock for the sake of it, with no real substance. You didn't care about any of the characters. The art housey scenes just seemed like they came out of nowhere a lot of the time. I can't say too much about Mia Goth and her career so far. I've enjoyed what I've seen her in so far, so it's hard to say much though, but I feel like her and Skarsgård were both absolutely wasted on this role. Skarsgård is a fantastic actor. Mia Goth is up and coming in my mind, but she seems to be good. This movie was not. It started out as this very intricate, brooding, ooh, what could be happening here? What troubles are they gonna get into? And then cloning came into play. And normally that stuff's kind of cool, but all the tone of the first 30 minutes got completely usurped by the bizarre sci-fi aspect that this movie ended up being. And I just don't think that clash of genre worked really well. It did not do this movie any favors. I really don't have any good points. I mean, it looked pretty at times, but no, I really didn't enjoy my time with this one. I wasted it more than I did with The Blackening. So I gave it 2 orgies. So a twosome instead of an orgy.
What? 2?
2 out of 10. Garbage movie.
Damn.
And I will not apologize for it. It was made for pretentious people. It was made for film critics exclusively in a weird way. I didn't like it.
Infinity Pool. Brandon Cronenberg, I guess, strikes again. He's had a few movies and they're kind of all the same. I too have not been a Cronenberg fan, a Cronenberg family fan at this point now. David's got a few good ones that I actually really do enjoy and have classic scenes. Brandon is just trying to upstage his father at this point.
Come on, Brandon. One of those names you just want to say like that.
It's a name you want to punch in the face.
If your name is Brandon, stop watching our videos.
Unlike you, I enjoyed the concept of the whole movie. That is to say, I didn't enjoy the movie at all. I liked the concept, and I think in other hands, it could have been executed very, very efficiently. I love the idea of foreign travelers and visitors getting into trouble with the law, and there's an out. And this out is, we clone you, and your clone is executed for the peace of mind of anybody who is affected by your crime. I think that's such a cool idea. It just wasn't done well. Where it falls flat for me specifically is the art house. Where it falls flat for me specifically is the art house. Wow.
Do it again. 3 for 3.
Where it falls flat for me is the art house approach to the story. The kaleidoscope-esque sequences, montage things were just so subliminally brainwashing, like sensory overload and unnecessary, had nothing to do with anything.
And we couldn't even see Skarsgård's dick.
But it also felt like lazy filmmaking in the way that like they were just put in there to fill time. He had nothing else to make it a 2-hour movie. Let's just waste time with a 5-minute orgy scene with kaleidoscope effects and colors over top of it. It was just weird and dumb and not motivated whatsoever. Stupid, not necessary to the plot, and it didn't even properly give us what was going on in Skarsgård's head. They were just random little things that we didn't get a peek into his mind. I feel like these were supposed to be moments that were like, oh, this is his psyche, and psychologically this is what he's seeing, but that wasn't it. That was just garbage. Performances were very meh. I found the weakest performance to be Alexander Skarsgård, which was weird. Mia Goth was the strongest performance in my opinion, and I think she plays a psychotic sociopath incredibly well. She's probably going to be typecast for the rest of her life, unfortunately, but didn't care about a single person, so I didn't care about his relationship or his individual decisions or his ending where he's just sitting on the beach in the rain. Like, I didn't give a shit. And the biggest nail in the coffin for this movie that absolutely buried it for me was at one point I turned to Victoria and I said, where is this going? And I was not answered to that question. It was a garbage movie. I guess it's a little bit better than your rating, but I gave it a 3 out of 10. Sorry, 3 orgies out of 10.
Yeah, come on now.
This movie was not good. Also not scary. That's our double feature, and that is the conclusion of October and all the spooky movies we're going to watch for October. Unfortunately, we're going out with a whisper.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that, these movies both kind of were garbage. Have you guys seen The Blackening or Infinity Pool, and what did you think of either or both movies? Please let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your opinions on this. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? We are totally open to conversation, and we would love to hear what you have to say.
Unless you liked it, then I probably won't read your comment.
We'll read it, but whatever. We need to figure out what we're doing for next month.
Oh.
And that only means a whole new batch of new movies.
Oh.
And that only means The Hat of Destiny.
Let's see what we're watching. This one. We're watching Retirement Plan.
This is the Nicolas Cage movie?
The Retirement Plan. When Ashley and her young daughter Sarah get caught up in criminal enterprise that puts their lives at risk, she turns to estranged father Matt, currently living the life of a retired beach bum in the Cayman Islands.
Oh, Nicolas Cage, give me all your movies, please.
Yeah, you know what? It's I don't care. It's going to be Nicolas Cage.
Come on back next week when we review Retirement Plan here on this channel, same but different. If you liked what you saw today and you like movies and you like chatting about movies, please, Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave some comments so we can appease the algorithm gods.
Yeah.
Happy Halloween. Yeah, because Halloween will be tomorrow when this movie comes out.
This movie.
Movie.
Shit. See you later, Brandon.